Hello everyone. In the previous lecture, we have seen the fundamental aspects of conduction heat transfer. In this lecture, we are going to discuss the essential fundamental mechanism of convection heat transfer. Convection is the heat transfer between a surface and a moving fluid when they are having a temperature difference. Also, convection can happen if there are two different fluids domains or two domains in the same fluid and there is a temperature difference. Notice there is a distinction between convection and conduction. The difference is that in case of conduction, the molecules of fluid, liquid, gas, or solid they had to be stationary. In this case, the fluid molecules need to have motion if convection is to happen. The faster is the fluid motion, the greater is the rate of convection heat transfer. Let us understand this by the simple example. In case of winter season, already if we are feeling cold, but at the same time, if there is a wind flow, then we feel much chillier. So that's why faster the fluid motion, greater is the convection heat transfer. If there is no fluid motion, in the absence of any bulk fluid motion, then heat transfer between that solid object and the fluid will be because of pure conduction heat transfer. Actually, convection is not a very different mode of heat transfer as compared to the conduction. Let us understand this in simple terms. Convection is comprised of diffusion and advection. It is combination of diffusion and advection. When these two phenomena happen at the same time, then we can say that convection is happening. Now, how to understand these different concepts? Diffusion we have understood in our previous lecture with the help of example of salt sugar in water or with the help of incense stick inside a room. So diffusion is clear to us. What about advection? Advection is the movement of molecules of the fluid in bulk. Bulk is a very important word. When we say movement of fluid molecules, we are not talking about movement of one or two molecules, but we are talking about movement of lakhs and thousands of molecules of the fluid. Let us understand the combination of these two mechanisms with the help of simple water heating problem. Let us consider a vessel in which water has been kept. Now, this vessel will be supplied with some heat energy from the bottom. It is kept on a burner, let us say. So, obviously, heat is flowing in this direction. Okay, now let us understand the migration of heat in a step by step approach. First, this heat will contact the bottom surface of the vessel. So, molecules of the bottom surface are that of solid. So, that's why heat conduction will take place from outer surface of the vessel towards the internal surface. Then, the molecules of water which are in immediate contact with that vessel surface, they will first absorb this energy because of conduction. But then the one property of fluid comes into picture. The energy of these fluid molecules will keep on increasing. That means their temperature will increase. Then what is the problem with the fluid? The problem is, rather the property is, as the temperature changes, the density of the fluid also changes. Then there are two possible scenarios. Temperature can either increase or it can decrease. Remember, when the temperature increases, the density of any fluid always decreases. And if the temperature of fluid reduces, then the density of that fluid actually increases. Let me tell you this with the help of a practical example. In winter season, let us say in very morning at 6 a.m., atmospheric temperature is very less. So it means the density of air, atmospheric air is very less. At that point, the molecules of air are very close to each other. And that's why we can hear the sound of train moving even from the farther distance. This is not possible in case of in case of summer season. In summer, temperature of air is higher, its density is lower, molecules of air are away from each other because of their higher energy level. And that's why listening to the sound of train from far away is not possible. So let us reconnect with our water heating problem. As temperature increases, the density decreases. So this first scenario is taking place in our water heating problem. So now the temperature of these molecules have increased, their density will decrease, which means they will move up in the level, they will become lighter, so they will start moving. Why? Because the molecules at the top, the molecules of water at the top are comparatively heavier. So because of movement of these light molecules, a small vacuum will be created at the bottom of the container, and then that vacuum will be filled up by these cold molecules. Now, if you observe these cold molecules, again they will come in contact with the bottom surface of the vessel and they will absorb energy from the bottom surface of the vessel. Then their own energy will increase, their own temperature will increase, their density will decrease. Again they will move up in the level, and the vacuum created will be filled by the next layer of water molecules. In this fashion, if you observe, a kind of current, a kind of wave is set up. The molecules are getting heated, going up, and the upper molecules are coming down, getting heated, and again going up. And in this way, the boiling will happen, the heat transfer will happen. The first case was heat diffusion. First, energy diffused, it spread through all the layers of molecules. And once it was spreading, then its spread was complete, then the bulk movement of molecules of the fluid took place. Lakhs and thousands of molecules of the fluid were moving from higher energy zone to the lower energy zone. Then, because of this combined effect, convection took place. I hope it is clear now. There are two fundamental types of convection. One is natural or free convection, and second one is the forced convection. Let us understand them. In the case of natural convection, whatever is the movement of the fluid, it happens because of change in temperature, and that's why change in density. Whenever there is temperature difference, the density difference in the fluid will be created. For example, in this case, a hot egg has been placed over here. So atmospheric air will come in contact with that hot egg. The air molecules will absorb the heat because of diffusion. So once diffusion has been completed, those lakhs and thousands of molecules of air, they will start moving upward. Why? Because their temperature has increased and density has decreased. And then because of combination of diffusion and advection, this convection will happen. Now this convection is happening because of natural property of the fluid, which is change in density because of change in temperature. So that's why this is known as natural convection, which is happening without interruption, without interference from any other external force. On the other hand, in case of forced convection, the same hot egg, but we have supplied with some external energy or external mechanical force. This fan creates an artificial fluid motion which is at a very high rate as compared to the previous case, so that air molecules come in contact with the hot egg and then they are propelled further, they are moved further, and because of that there is diffusion as well as there is advection, and that's why convection will happen. But this convection is happening because of some external force, and that's why it is called as forced convection. Now let us understand some real life examples of convection heat transfer. The cooling which is provided by air conditioning system or desert cooler in our households is one of the beautiful examples of using convection heat transfer for human comfort. The heat transfer from flue gases in a boiler to the water inside the tubes is another industrial example of a convection heat transfer. In case of computer, the CPU gets heated because of its processing, then that heat can be removed by convection because of the fan which is installed at that point. At the night time, temperature of atmosphere is less, and because of daytime absorption, temperature of building or temperature of desert sand is higher. Then atmospheric air, which is now cool, atmospheric air comes in contact with the building, absorbs the heat from the building because of diffusion, and starts moving upward in the atmospheric layers, thereby creating advection. And thus convection is created and the building gets cooled. Solar water heater is one of the beautiful examples of using convection heat transfer for environmental protection as well as creating hot water for our daily use. Let us understand this technically. Consider there is a solar water heater. If you recall correctly, the solar water heaters are never kept in a horizontal position or in a complete vertical position. They are always inclined. Now it is up to you to find out how this inclination angle is decided. You can Google the answer. So this solar water heater is its collector surface is always inclined to the ground surface or horizontal floor. So now there is one more observation you should make. There is one hot water storage tank at the top of the solar water heater. But then how hot water should move upward? For that purpose, if you observe properly, the cold water inlet is always provided at the bottom. And now I am drawing the cold water storage as well. So this is the cold water storage tank. Okay. Now the cold water is always supplied at the bottom. Then solar radiation will be incident on the collector surface. This is the solar radiation coming on the collector surface. So this heat will be transferred to the water particles. Now because of this heat absorption, the temperature of water particles will start increasing, which are now flowing inside the tubes. So progressively their temperature will increase. Now why I am showing this in ascending order? Go to the basics. As the temperature of the fluid increases, its density actually decreases, and because of decrease in density the fluid becomes lighter. So the hot water is lighter while cold water is heavier. So hot water, which is lighter, automatically rises in the tubes and then it travels in this direction, and then automatically it is stored in this storage vessel or storage tank at the top of the solar collector. Now, where does the benefit come in? If you observe, as soon as this hot water rises in the level and goes in the storage tank, a small vacuum is created at this point, and that vacuum will be filled immediately by this cold water. So in this case, we do not have to supply an extra pump at this point to supply the cold water. Why? Because we have kept this cold water storage at a higher level than the solar water heater. So once we supply cold water in this storage, automatically the cold water will be supplied from the storage to the solar water heater. There will not be any need of extra pump. So ultimately we are saving electricity, and by reducing the electrical consumption we are saving the environment. So now I think we are clear with the concepts of convection heat transfer. In the next session we will continue with the radiation heat transfer. We will go to the mathematical treatment of it as well. If you find this video useful, you can subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get the continuous updates. Thank you very much.